Good morning, everyone. This is Wa'ud from the Federal Authority for Government Human Resources. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to this HR Club session, where we will explore a topic that is rapidly reshaping the future of work, generative AI and HR transformation. Technology has always driven HR evolution, but generative AI is transforming how hire, engage, and develop talent. Beyond automation, it enhances creativity, decision-making, and strategic HR initiatives. As HR professionals, we are not just managing people, we are reshaping the future of work. Our session today will be led by Maysa Al-Muhtar, Country HR Lead from Oracle, and Iman Nasif, Oracle HCM Applications Advisor. Let's explore this together and share our thoughts. Please feel free to share any questions or comments you have in the chat box throughout the session, and we will address all questions at the end. Thank you. Iman? Iman, the mic is muted.
Unmute me. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, يسعد صباحكم جميعا. Good morning everyone. And thank you for joining us today. طبعا كل سنة حضراتكم طيبين، رمضان كريم. Very glad to be with you today. Inshallah, today we're going to focus. This is going to be our agenda. The focus is, as Waoud mentioned, the role of generative AI in HR. So we will focus mainly on three topics today. الأول, we will understand first how the generative AI works in general. And then we'll see some use cases, technology use cases that we've rolled out, of course, in the function of HR, and how those use cases have helped the HR teams as well as managers, business leaders, and employees with their efficiency, productivity. And then we will look at how the transforming HR functions with the generative AI is helping the business. And we will look at some studies and considerations as well as impacts on the overall organizational outcome. So to start with, I'm launching this poll. I would like to hear from the audience and the webinar attendees, how much do you know about generative AI in HR? This will help us a lot in the introduction, understanding how deep you are knowledgeable with the generative AI in HR. So let's look at the webinar. You can just scan the QR code, the poll will be launched, and then you will be able to No. Okay, we're starting to see some answers. So how much do you know about generative AI in HR? Let's just scan the QR code and start to put in answers.
Iman, can you share the screen? Your screen is not shared.
My screen is not shared. Can you see it now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we're starting to see some answers. Absolutely nothing. A little. I've heard of it. Okay, a little.
We also have some experts, no?
Yeah. I'm an expert. Interesting. Okay, we'll give it 10 more seconds. A little. Okay.
I think the majority are familiar with it, right?
Yes,
They know a
I've
little
heard of it, a
yeah.
little of it, absolutely not. Okay, interesting, very interesting. Tamam. So let's kickstart. وعود, still my screen is showing.
Yes, you're good to go.
Perfect. طيب, let me give you some introduction about generative AI or AI and how it evolved over the past years. But before that, Maisa, can you imagine when was the first chatbot that interacted with humans was created? Imagine. It was in the 60s. So in the 60s, a computer scientist in MIT, he invented a chatbot that would interact with patients in psychology. So patients that go to therapy, they would interact with the chatbot. So the chatbot would ask them, how are you doing today? And then the patient would say, oh, I feel so much pressure. So the chatbot was just trained to reiterate the question, or take that question and then rephrase it in another manner so that the patient would feel like there's a conversation between him and the chatbot. So it was very interesting to me to know that actually the humans has invented those chatbots very, very, far at the back in the history. I mean, the 60s, which is a very long time back. So, and this is how it evolved. So many years back, the first use case or the first form of AI was using the natural language processing. So the whole idea was this artificial intelligence would do the natural language processing so that it would help the AI understand the human language. And then it would give some kind of recommendations, suggestions, analyze the data in a manner so that it would guide people with suggestions or recommendations. Then this form has evolved in the past years to the generative content or generating content, which what we've all experienced with ChatGPT and all, of course, generative AI applications. So this generation of content, again, it understands the human language, so natural language processing is available there, and it processes large amounts of data so that it can generate content for the user that is asking or inquiring about anything. So this is how the AI has evolved from prediction or classic use of AI to the generative AI or the generating content. And then the most advanced form that we have evolved recently, maybe the last year, we started to talk about agents, agentic AI, and how those agents not only generate content, but we all know about the hallucinations of generative AI or ChatGPT or any application that uses the technology of generative AI. Sometimes it hallucinates, it's not that accurate. So this is how the model has evolved to be agentic AI, so that agent, you are training it with the context. So you are providing it with your own data. So since we talk about HR, so let's say I'm going to train the agent AI with the HR policy so that it gives answer in context. So of course it has a natural language processing. Again, it has the large language model, but again, it answers in context because you have given it the context so that it answers accurately, and we avoid the hallucinations and get focused data.
Isn't this similar to what we use here?
Yes, exactly. So now, with that being said, طبعا we have observed our customers that has already implemented the AI capabilities, and we've observed a lot of improvements, similar to what Gartner have done in the past few years. So what Gartner has done, they have rolled out 2 studies, one in 2023 and another one in 2024, and they have mainly asked HR professionals, how far are you planning and preparing for generative AI implementation? And not surprisingly, طبعا, those numbers have doubled over this last year. We've seen, they have seen, and the study has mentioned that the customers that have already, organizations that have already implemented has doubled. The ones that have already planning to implement has also increased. Those that are conducting hackathons or pilots has also doubled. The ones that are exploring the potential use cases that act as a priority to them have also nearly doubled. Evaluating different Gen AI solutions has increased. They have seen also, the study have seen that there are some that are not planning to currently use, of course, due to maybe those aspects of hallucinations or security of data, etc. So the study,
this number reduced a lot, if you notice.
Yes,
in 2023 it was 14% and it dropped to 11 in 2024.
Yes.
So there's a shift in the focus on this area, right?
Yes. There's a lot of shift on that area. So even us in Oracle, we have seen and we have examined and explored customers that have already used the AI capabilities, and we've seen 3 areas of advancements in efficiency, in effectiveness, as well as in the experience that you create for the user. Everyone is talking about user experience. So, and overall, with the use of the AI or generative AI, we found that efficiency has raised. Why? Because you're an HR professional. You get to spend less time on your transactional kind of or administrative kind of tasks, leaving that to the AI, and then you focus on more strategic things that would shift the experience of employees. The second thing is the effectiveness. Again, you would be able to achieve clarity and consistency, and this over time will help you with your decision making as well. Again, focusing on the strategic aspects of HR would definitely help move the business forward. You are definitely a business enabler. And this all together will enhance the employee experience, the business leaders' experience. We've seen an improvement in user experience. And also we've seen...
إيمان
Yes.
ممكن تعلين صوتك شوية لأن الصوت مش واضح. صوت الميوزك في الباك جراوند أعلى من صوتك.
The music is still in the background. I have to...
Can you close the music?
Yes, sure, I can. I don't know why it's running. It should be there on the first slide only. Can you still see my screen, Oud?
Yes, I can still see. Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, these are the 3 main advantages or benefits that we've seen in the organizations that have already used AI in the HR function. Now, let me dive into some of the use cases, very important use cases that we've rolled out. We all agree that technology is the enabler of any advancements or any trend that would help the HR function. So in the area of talent acquisition, we've released multiple use cases. There are lots of use cases, but for the sake of the session and the sake of the time of the session, we will focus on the high value kind of use cases that we have rolled out. So in order to help recruiters, we've rolled out some use cases. So the first use cases is we would help recruiters while they are preparing the job posting to be posted and published on the career website. We helped the recruiters formulate a job description, qualifications, responsibilities, in order, again, to cut down on the time or the administrative time of recruiters. Let's see a short video of how this happens, how the tool would help recruiters. طيب زي ما شفنا and as we've seen in the last slide, in a very easy manner and in a very short time, a recruiter would be able to come up and structure a job description, qualifications, responsibility with just a simple click of AI assist, and then the generative AI tool would help him. Again, he can definitely at any point of time, Marie would have went back and edited the job description if she would like. If she would like to emphasize on anything, use the red text, make any part of the text as bold, etc., in order to shift or focus on some aspect on the job description and qualification. A second use case, which is also available for recruiters, would be the AI-driven email and text messages to candidates. So what do we do here is that definitely recruiters would need to converse with the candidates, send emails or text messages. What we do here is that we provide them a tool that would help them compose those messages. So if whether they are sending it to one candidate or multiple candidates, what they do is that they would tell the AI assist what would they like to send to that recruiter candidate, and then the system or the AI assist would help them generate the content, the subject of the email, as well as the body of the email. And then, of course, at any point of time, the recruiter would go and edit that message or focus on some key messages in that particular email. So how do you see this, Marisa?
This is great, to be honest. And I think we've been using it for some time now, and I can definitely see the impact it had on everyone's efficiency and time, right?
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. So that's the whole idea. It saves time in preparing the communication that the recruiter would need, of course, and again, increase the efficiency in order for the recruiter to focus on more value-driven.
With this in place, the recruiters now can focus more on spending time with the candidates to ensure that they are looking for the right skills, the right attitude or behavior, and so on. So it's definitely helping both. And also, to add on this, the experience of the candidate will also be very positive.
صحيح, مظبوط. True, very true. Okay, not only recruiters that we've released use cases for, but also candidates. It's very important for employers to brand themselves, also to attract the top talent. So again, we surface use cases for candidates to improve the candidates' experience. So there, I'm going to focus on two use cases. The first one is the AI-driven job match snippets. So what happens is that me as a candidate, I'm exploring the job openings. I'm going to go to your career site, use the keyword search, look for a job, and then I land on a senior director, for example. I'd like to see how matching my capabilities, my profile, my experience, my skills to that job requirements. So that what happens. The system would automatically scan my CV, scan my experience, my expertise, my education, my skills, and gives me an overall score. How much am I matching this particular job opening, the criteria? So overall score is 4 out of 5. My skills is 4 out of 5. My expertise is 4 out of 5. Experience 4 out of 5, and education is 3 out of 4. Very important to candidates in order to know how much they are matching the criteria of that job.
Exactly.
Second use case, again, focusing on driving a very intuitive user experience for candidates and simple ones. Candidates can converse with an AI chatbot. They can ask questions about the job opening that they are trying to fill or apply for, and attach their resume. And what the AI would do here, the generative AI here, again, it would scan my resume and then provide a work summary for that candidate. A very important thing, because sometimes again, who from recruiters now opens every CV and scans them?
True.
But reading through a work summary would be very intuitive, again, for recruiters, as well as for candidates to make, instead of spending time writing a cover letter, for example, for their CVs, this work summary would suffice.
Exactly.
So this is in the area of talent acquisition. What about talent management and talent development? We've released many use cases there. Again, I'll focus on only these. So the first one, we deliver actually the same experience to employees that are trying to create goals, objectives, as well as business leaders that are trying to create objectives for their teams. So what happens here is that either managers or employee, we would help them write smart, clear, consistent, and concise goals for themselves or for their teams. So what happens is, me as an employee or a business leader, as we can see on the video on the screen, I'd like my team to focus on a goal or an objective to enhance the customer satisfaction. I just write those 3 words and I click on the AI assist, and then it would generate for me what success criteria that I need to do, what is the description of that particular goal, and the steps that would help me achieve that particular goal. Again, very efficient in terms of creation of goals, as well as improving definitely productivity of business leaders as well as employees.
And Iman, this is also a great example of clarity, because the details provided here will leave no room for vagueness, for employees to know what is expected of them and how their performance will be managed through that time period.
Absolutely.
So another great example of how this is impacting several, sides of
benefits. Now, with that use case, of course, this is very relevant, especially also in the public sector industry. We've seen a great focus on improving succession pipeline. So in terms of succession planning, again, the AI capabilities will help with AI-driven suggestions on the best successor that would be fulfilling this critical job or critical role. So while you are planning your succession plans, we'll be able to surface to you recommendations on the best fit employees that happens to be within the organization so that they succeed in that critical role. Let me take a pause here if there are any questions. Okay. I'll move ahead with the couple of use cases, and then we will take the questions after those use cases. So the third one in the area of performance appraisals, Maisa. So while business leaders are filling the performance appraisals, we are providing them with some tips, again, and AI assistance in order for them to provide feedback and development tips for their employees.
Sure.
So for example, I have an employee that needs to have some focus on some set of skills or competencies. The system would understand, digest that information, digest the results that I have put in the evaluation, and provide the business leaders with a performance feedback as well as a development tip. Again, reduces the time spent by managers in order for them to write a performance feedback and development tips for their team.
Exactly. And as you can see here, Iman, the way this feedback is written or provided is very constructive, right?
Yes.
So it's not like it ticks all the boxes of a constructive feedback.
Unbiasedness. Exactly. Well said. Then the final one would come in the area, again, fair pay. So it provides an assistance for market composites. Definitely every employer wants to make sure that they are offering fair and competitive compensation for their employees and workforce.
True.
So what happens is that this use case would, again, examine market composites and come back with the right support in order to make sure and ensure that employers are paying fairly and employees are being compensated in a fair manner. Yeah. And with that being said, let me look at the question. So how can generative AI improve the efficiency and fairness of the hiring process? Okay, so we've seen those areas whenever a candidate is applying for a job, when we remove the biasness of the humans, You know what I mean? Of course, in the recruitment process, we've seen lots of customers that would like to hide some details. So, like, for example, a gender of the candidate, or
age,
nationality, or age,
yes.
for example. And this, again, AI would never consider those criteria when the AI is recommending. So we have another use case that we did not talk about, surfacing best candidates. So AI would focus on skills, education, experience, and ensure that there is fairness and remove any kind of biasness, surfacing only those that are skilled and matching the job requirements. So this is a way in eliminating biasness and being able to be fair in the hiring process. How can AI personalize employee experience while maintaining a human touch? Excellent question. What do you think, Maisa?
Okay, so employee experience is based on the services they receive.
صحيح.
As an HR function, when we reduce all those admin tasks, we get the chance to spend more time employee facing, right? So rather than me having to spend hours every day ensuring processes are followed, setting the right documentation in place, ensuring all the admin stuff is completed, let it be letters, offers, contracts, employee documentation, I have some tools to take care of this. When I manage to spend the majority of my time speaking to employees, working on initiatives with the leadership team, enhancing engagement, and so on. So this is where we can see a huge difference in the level of service that we can provide, given that a lot of the things that can be done by AI are being done by AI.
Yes, let the heavy work and the admin work done by AI, and then I focus on creating an exceptional experience for employees. What role does generative AI play in employee learning and development? Excellent question. So what happens throughout the year, of course, there are development plans in place for employees. But again, and this was among the use cases maybe we did not shed the light on today, is that system understands my skills as an employee and understands the skills required for my job, for my role. What are the mandatory skills required for my job? So this gap between my role what my role mandates and what competencies I have or skills I have, the system understands this gap. And then we've developed a tool called Employee Grow or Coach. It's called Oracle Grow. It reads all this data, what my role mandates, what my skills are, what skills am I developing, and then pushes to me, fills the gap, bridges that gap, pushes to me recommendations on maybe career ambassadors, training programs that mentors, it's exactly, or even training programs and training materials that would help bridge that gap.
Iman, what about if I'm looking to compare my current skills to a job that I aspire to take over in the future?
Exactly, you've just nailed it. That's exactly what happens in that coaching tool. What happens is that it helps you excel in your current role and bridges that gap between what your role mandates and what your experience is or skill set is. And it also shows you the path in order for you to explore or grow your career. So for me to grow my career, I need to first identify if I'm going to switch gears or I'm going to stay on that same career path I am in. If I would stay in that same career path, it would show me what's the next career move.
Yes.
And what are the mandatory skills, the mandatory competencies, the things that I need to have in order for me to progress my career to the next step.
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, so if we talk, Maisa, about the steps in order for us or any organization to implement generative AI in HR, what would be the major steps? And again, that based on the study that Gartner has done, they have narrowed down those steps into 3 major pillars or 3 major steps in order for organizations to take forward steps in order for them to implement generative AI in HR.
So Iman, as any other project, the most important thing is putting a plan together. So if we ever think of transforming into Gen AI in HR, it's important for us to have a strategy and a plan, and to understand what are the objectives of us doing this. What do we want to achieve? What's the end in mind? And work towards those objectives.
So setting priorities and objectives
Exactly.
very clear at the beginning.
Exactly. And then it's very important that we collaborate with internal stakeholders or partners, for example, like legal, IT, compliance, to ensure that everyone is on the same page. And also what's even equally important is to educate our HR workforce. So it's important to run workshops, training sessions, etc., for employees to understand what is AI. How will this help us to speak the language, basically, right? And at this stage, I think it's very important also to set a plan related to the AI skills. How are we going to develop our employees to have these skills, so upskilling our employees? And actually, what are the areas that we require to focus on to help uplift our employees in that area? Because at the end of the day, this will have a major impact on their roles, right? And then back to the use cases that you just showed, it's also important to focus on high value use cases. So think of what are my functional needs versus what is the value or the potential value that I will get as a business from those. So we spoke about administrative stuff, we spoke about recruitment, we spoke about performance management. All of these will have a big impact when we implement AI. Again, no need, I think, to repeat the importance of efficiency, effectiveness, customer experience, etc. Right? So it's important that we compare what are our needs in terms of the functional needs to what value are we getting out of this, because it's a very clear path at the end of the day.
That's true. And it might get confusing because, again, it's the hype now. Everyone is talking about generative AI. There are lots of use cases. So it's very important to narrow it down to the high impact ones, the priority ones that would help me advance my business, and then take it in a staggered manner and roll it out in a staggered manner. Absolutely. So maybe let's hear from the audience now. What do you think, in your opinion, how will the use of generative AI impact employees? I hope my screen is still open. Okay. So what do you think? Like, there were lots of concerns about generative AI, or maybe it would risk our jobs, or those kind of, ideas. Less human interaction. It would affect it positively. Awareness, connectivity, get rid of bias, saves time. Interesting. We have very positive, very positive responses. A promotion, improve their work. Create less plans, clarity,
planning.
Yeah, less human interactions, save time. Interesting. That
so I think they all fall under the three main
areas of benefits. Yes, very true, very true. So that's interesting. So, and actually, this is very similar to what Gartner have conducted in their study. So if we look at what Gartner has said when it comes to workforce impact, how would generative AI impact workforce overall? What did they say in their study?
This is going to be a surprise, no? Because based on that study, by the year 2026, the global jobs impact will be neutral.
Neutral.
Yes.
No one will lose their jobs.
No.
Because this was, the main concern that we've been hearing from lots of business stakeholders, that, of course, lots of jobs will be lost.
Iman, it's not only that no one will lose their job because of AI. based on this study, it shows that there will be more than 500 million new jobs by 2036.
Yes, and that's due to what you've just mentioned, the upskilling and reskilling, because again, roles will shift. There will be new responsibilities, new tasks.
Exactly.
So that this would mandate the upskilling and requirement actually for new jobs to be introduced.
Which will lead to the need to redesign the jobs, right? And that's why when we spoke of the 3 steps for introducing the Gen AI, we focused a lot on the skills. It's important that we define what are the skills required for the AI implementation, and then what are we going to do to support our employees gain those skills and be comfortable, using them in their day-to-day jobs. So as a summary for this, no, jobs will not be reduced, jobs will not be eliminated, but there will be a shift in jobs. There will be a need to redesign the jobs that in some cases might be disrupted by the introduction of AI.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. Very true. And this actually goes in line with what the studies mentioned. PwC, Deloitte, McKinsey, they have conducted lots of studies and surveys in order to see the impact of generative AI on the HR function and overall the organizational outcome. And this is what they came up with. Definitely, there would be huge improvements, like what the survey have shown, on task automation. Again, lots of redundant tasks that does not require a human to waste their time on doing can be pushed forward to the AI to take care of. So task automation sees a lot of improvement, 50% of improvement in terms of how you would design those Gen AI use cases or even agents to take over task automation that does not administrative kind of tasks that does not require a human interaction.
Like, for example, preparing employee certificates or letters, preparing employment contracts, preparing documentations required to renew work permits. So all of these require so much time, but they do not need a person to do them.
Absolutely. Me as an employee, I can converse with a chatbot asking about those HR certificates or letters, and then the AI would email them to me. Why do a human being is needed in that interaction? That's right. That doesn't mean that an HR specialist will lose their job. No,
they'll focus on the right things.
Absolutely, absolutely. In terms of hiring speed, we've seen lots of use cases, and there are many others that would again improve the hiring speed. We've seen a lot of improvement in the time to hire and time to fill KPIs by recruiters with the use of AI capabilities. Cost savings, definitely. When you shift your focus on less administrative tasks, and you improve experience and you improve the overall strategic goals of the HR function, definitely this would result in cost savings, because when you save your time, definitely you achieve cost savings.
Of course.
Employee satisfaction, and we've touched based on that as well. If to get a certificate, I have to pick up the phone, call Maisa. Maybe Maisa is busy with some other stuff, or she's not available to give me my letter today. She promised to send it to me tomorrow, and then she got busy tomorrow. This is all affecting employee satisfaction. So if those services is online, and again, back to the AI chatbots are taking care of these, definitely would improve employee satisfaction.
No employees can download any certificate they want in less than a minute.
Absolutely.
So
yes, true. Why wait?
Exactly.
And definitely, this will all tie down to decision accuracy. You'd be able to take decision more accurately, more efficiently, in less time, and with more clarity as well. Like 100%. The benefits that we touched base on the beginning of the session. Let's look at the rest of the questions that were posted. How can companies ensure AI tools comply with data privacy regulations? This is a very important question, and that's why you have to be very careful with the technology you are deploying and using in order that would facilitate or provide you with the AI capabilities. Enterprise tools takes that data privacy aspect into consideration. Unlike, of course, the public tools such as ChatGPT, the tools that we use in Oracle is an enterprise one, Cohere. So data privacy is never a concern. It secures the data. It never expose this customer's data to the global model or the large language models. It does not do that. It isolates the customer's data from the large language models. And this is the importance of deploying the right data that would take your data privacy aspect into consideration.
Of course.
What are the potential risks of AI-driven decision-making in HR? We've seen a lot of ethical aspect that has been raised and that has been a concern or considered as a risk. That's why, as maybe a previous question came before, how would the human aspect remain? Again, we've mentioned very clearly that I would use the AI in very redundant and administrative kind of tasks. When it comes to decision making, definitely we use AI, but there is always the guidance and the human factor there to again make sure that the decision making, that those AI driven decision making are accurate and in context.
Yeah. Of course, we use the data we get from AI as a starting point, right?
Guidance.
Exactly, but then our involvement is into the details. The hows, the whys, the reason we're doing this, especially when it comes to things like compensation.
Yes.
Sometimes we might be aware of certain personal circumstances that can never be reflected on AI, right? So we use this as a baseline, we use this as a starting point, and then we definitely do a lot, do a lot to ensure that whatever we are presenting or providing the business with is right, and genuine, and in line with our policies as well.
True. And then finally, how will AI reshape the HR function in the next 5 to 10 years? This is exactly how it is reshaping the function. Again, redesigning of roles is a very important thing that organizations would need to take into considerations. How they would upskill their existing employees. Again, there are lots of skills to be acquired now. Analysts and scientists, computer scientists and AI analysts that with those kind of roles would need to be brought in, and they exist already. But I mean that there will be a reshaping and redesigning of those roles due to the mandate or the heavy use of generative AI in the HR function altogether. Yeah. We aim to enhance education using AI, but how can we achieve this? Again, very important question. Education, and I would assume that education here is concerned with employees, workforce education. So again, the same topic, upskilling.
Yeah.
Upskilling
and learning and development.
And learning and development, again, with using the right tools that would have visibility over an employee profile and what their job mandates would give you the right directions and steps and personalized suggestions and recommendations for your employees in order for them to develop and improve and bridge that gap of skills. Yeah. Can you share some good AI tools useful for educators, for self-learning and teaching students? Now, of course, I cannot refer to one specific ones over another. There are lots in that space, lots of providers in that space that competes a lot in terms of learning and development and teaching students. Again, definitely, I would suggest you go through the right channels like management consulting firms that would help you assess. Again, we never point to a specific vendor or a specific technology, but we always say that you have to tick all the boxes. What are your priorities? What is that checklist that you need to have in place? And then find the best vendor that would help you, address all this checklist. Any further questions? Okay, I think this brings us to the end of the session today. Thank you very much, all the audience, and Ramadan Kareem once again. We wanted it to be very light. We are here the last week of Ramadan. كل عام وحضراتكم بخير. Inshallah, happy Eid to everyone that are celebrating.
Yes.
And It was a very engaging session. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Oud.
Thank you, Iman. Thank you, Maisa. Thank you all for your participation and engagement. We look forward to seeing you at our upcoming sessions, where we will continue to explore new and emerging topics in the field of human resources. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.